popularity of books like The Hunger Games and Divergent, it's become really common in reviews, even in professional reviews, to label books as dystopian when they really aren't. In fact, John Green's The Fault in Our Stars, when it came out, originally had a book review that said it was a dystopian novel, which, if you've read it or know anything about it, it is not. So, what is a dystopian novel? Well, think 1984, George Orwell's classic, or Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. You have a repressive government that's pretty much global, controls the citizenry, which is too repressed to even fight back. They believe that this is the best way of life, until generally one person or one group realizes that this isn't the way it should be. Dystopia is actually a subset of the science fiction genre, and a lot of science fiction books are mistakenly categorized as being dystopian when they're really just straight up science fiction. So today I was going to show you a few science fiction novels that are really varied in the subject matter that they treat. So the first one is called Skyship Academy. This is the first in a trilogy. It's called The Pearl Wars, and it's in a future Earth which has been pretty much destroyed. So that's where I think a lot of people get dystopia from. They think, oh, Earth is destroyed, that's a dystopia. It's not. And these mysterious glowing orbs fall from space, and they're called pearls. And they're actually a source of energy. So kids go and try and retrieve them for like a bounty. But it turns out that they can also confer special powers, as alien objects generally do. The next one is called 172 Hours on the Moon by Johan Harstad, and it's about 3 teens who are chosen in a lottery to go to space camp and actually go to the moon. And of course there's betrayals galore and survival on the moon, which is crazy. So a daughter of a friend of mine recommends this one very highly. The next one is called Tempest by Julie Cross. Now, this one's a little bit more on the side of time travel, where Jackson Meyer, who is just seemingly a normal guy, finds out that he has the ability to travel through time, and his girlfriend ends up dying, so he keeps trying to jump back through time and find ways of saving her, except every time he does that, something else gets messed up and she still doesn't live, or she doesn't know who he is. So it's really playing with the whole what if scenario when it comes to time travel. This next one's really interesting. It's called Starglass. It's by Phoebe North. It's about a girl on a colony ship that's headed to another planet. But what makes this really interesting is the inclusion of Jewish religious observances and traditions. And it's a really great envisioning of what that would be like in the future in a ship where, you know, there's nowhere else for you to go, and so you have to follow traditions. And in this book, the girl witnesses a murder on the ship but doesn't really know where to turn. And lastly is the newest book by John Corey Way, who won the Prince Award a few years ago. This one's called Noggin, and it's about a boy who, when he dies, has his head cryogenically frozen. If you know anything about baseball, this happened with Ted Williams. Please don't tell my Italian professor that I said that, because he also writes books about Ted Williams, and we didn't talk about Ted Williams' head ever. But in this book, the technology is developed where the head can be reattached to the body and the person can live again. So it's more of an existential book than the other ones that I've done in this video, because it's really talking about, you know, what would you do if you had a second chance at life, and, you know, are you even really human anymore after you've been reanimated? So those are some science fiction options for teens from our collection, our YA collection. Of course, there's tons more that you can look at. It doesn't mean you can't read adult science fiction or anything like that. I personally love Alastair Reynolds and Neil Asher. If you like space opera or action, aliens all over the place kind of science fiction. So stop by the library and check one of these out.